everybody, how you doing? How you doing? This is Ron Tucker. I want to welcome you to my YouTube show. It's called At Ron's Talking, and my name is Ron Tucker. And I want to just welcome anybody who's taking a look at my video. Please feel free to subscribe and throw me a few comments and likes as well if you like it. If you don't, well, just throw a thumbs down. I mean, this is America, and that's what we get for having the ability to exercise our rights to freedom of choice. Hopefully, I'll be the choice of some of you people, and everybody doesn't like the same old flavor. That's why we got Neapolitan ice cream. What I wanted to talk about today is many things, especially involving our historic election is coming up in a few weeks, and we're coming down the home stretch right now. And as I go through the course of a day and thoughts and everything starts going through my head, I can't help but think about the condition of our country right now and where we're at today. America, to say the obvious, is at a crossroads. So many things have been said about why we're here, the reason we're here, the different individuals who have caused us to be here, namely, according to most people who are either critics or supporters, is Donald Trump. Now, we go back and look at the origins of how this individual has become prominent in our news cycle. Most times the dominant player in our news cycle, unfortunately. Donald Trump, as they always say, as he strode down the escalator, that was the beginning of the start of where we're at right now. And who knows where the end is going to be. But as far as I'm concerned, a lot of things occurred before he rolled down that escalator. But for people to go back and dig into the archives of the historical steps that it took for him to get to where he's at now is too time consuming right now, and it'd be too painstaking for me to squeeze that into this segment of my video. So I'm not going to try, but what I am going to do is just mention a few things that comes to my mind that it's not scripted, it's not written down. It's just off the top of my head from my memory. I vividly remember when Trump announced his candidacy, but myself, like so many other people, we thought it was just a passing thing. He's gotten this celebrity acclaim from being the host of the Apprentice show, which was in actuality just a show that was created to not specifically to put Trump on a pedestal, if you will, but because what I understand, there was two or three other people that they were looking for to be the lead role in that show. None other than I think it was Sir Richard Branson and also Mark Cuban, but I understood that they turned down the roles because for whatever the reasons were, they didn't have time or it wasn't something they wanted to do. But Trump, he was at a moment where his financial situation was shaky. He wasn't relevant anymore, and he jumped on the opportunity to get involved in this show. Well, the show performed better than people expected to, so they renewed his contract a couple of times, and then when it really caught on and caught traction, there he was. I didn't realize it went on for 15 years because honestly, I never watched a single episode of The Apprentice in its entirety. I probably caught a few glimpses over the years, but that was a long time ago, probably when it first started. So I'm not a big fan nor historian of the show, but from what I've read, and now that Trump is at this portion and stage of his life where he's embroiled in so many different things in our society, uh, legally and politically, all the, I guess, the things that were going on, the things that propelled him to where he became, I guess, if some people want to call it a television icon. It was from that show, but now all the behind the scenes and the real stories come out from either the producers of the show or people who are associated with the shows or people who are actually involved in production or also were participants on the show. Then you start finding out either the real truth or news that you never knew about, things that make you want to wonder about. Didn't know about that. Oh, really? So, Trump was portrayed on this show, from what I understand, as a business mogul, successful business person that, he was putting people in a position to become sort of like him. And I guess if they went, I guess it was the business person's version of Survivor or something. So Trump became famous for that. And as he kind of meandered through thoughts of running for public office, because people often had asked him, you know, you ever thought about being president, or is this something you like to do one day and pursue? And when people who are in the public limelight like that, they'll be asked those questions all the time because, this country has always been entranced and enthralled with celebrities. And if you got some sort of celebrity status, of course, you're qualified to become president because he showed it to be true. Just like Ronald Reagan, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and there's probably a few others that I don't recall right now. Maybe they're not as prominent as those two or three I just mentioned. But nevertheless, we have a fascination with celebrities. Okay, so Trump, as the years went by, after the Apprentice show was over, his little stint there, he started inching more and more towards making a run for the presidency. Of course, he wasn't qualified, and unfortunately for America, we found that out the hard way later on. But I remember when he was always trying to come after President Obama and ginning up all that birtherism nonsense. Well, when he got totally embarrassed at that national correspondent dinner, and Obama, took him to task, and Donald was in the audience, and everybody knows that he can't stand ridicule now. So that was that when you make his face go from orange to red, you've really done something then. So he couldn't deal with that scorn and being embarrassed in front of really millions of people. He knew though that if he wanted to get back, and not only at Obama, but at all the critics and all the people who laughed at him, he was going to probably take a run at the presidency, but he knew one thing was in his favor, that Obama couldn't run anymore. As I'm sure if he thought about running against President Obama, if Obama was eligible to run, Trump knew he wouldn't have stood a chance. So after Obama ended his second term, and this man, Obama, had taken over our country as commander in chief during the time when we were in crisis in 2008. Everybody knows the housing crisis and financial crisis and all that stuff. So I'm not going to go through all that, but we all lived through it if we're still living. So Obama took over and cleaned up the mess another Republican left. Did the job with aplomb, professionalism, class, dignity, all those superlatives that you want to throw on it. He did it. Now, of course, during his 8-year run as president, he wasn't getting no love from the Republicans. As a matter of fact, if some of you don't remember, old Mitch McConnell plainly stated with no equivocation that his mission and his job as senator was to ensure that Obama was a first term, one term only president. Well, it didn't work for you, Mitch, because the man was that good and he handled his job superbly. Okay. So Trump was handed a stable economy, a good, robust economy, no matter what the critics want to say about the Obama time in office. He handed Trump over a great economy. And so Trump inherited something, as he's always done, from inheritance of money from his father, and then squandering money, bankruptcies, the whole 9 yards. Okay? He has had a penchant for being Lucky Lou. I mean, he just always in the right place at the right time to benefit from somebody else's hard work so he can take credit for it. Okay? That's how the cards have been falling for him. Now in 2016, with the help of the Russians, Trump won the presidency because so many Americans were hateful of the Clintons. They couldn't stand Hillary, for the most part, because of Trump and all of his supporters and his acolytes constantly trying to put this lady, Hillary Clinton, in a position where she had to always defend herself and her actions. They accused her of so many things. They worried about her emails and email servers. And Trump, I mean, he beat that drum like there was nobody's business. And so when FBI Director Comey made his faux pas and caused a lot of discontent and a lot of people to do some second thoughts when he announced he was going to reopen an investigation about her emails. Oh Lord, everybody like, well, I told you, you see, I knew she was up to something. She was guilty of this, just like Trump said. Then her lead that she had acquired and had amassed at that point, which from my memory, she had about a 6 to 8 point lead on Trump. They dwindled. Soon as those allegations came back under the direction of the FBI director. Well, excuse me. He got his after he screwed up. Trump jammed him up and later on fired him. And here's where the things start getting real interesting with Mr. Trump. I'm wondering why no one has really totally answered this question, in my opinion, as to why when Trump allowed those 2 Russian diplomats into his office, in the Oval Office, and he told them he had fired the FBI director, and it took the Russian thing off his back, and blah, blah, blah. I mean, to this day, I'm trying to figure out why was there not enough pushback and conversation on the media front as to why there were no U.S. journalists, no U.S. reporters allowed in that meeting with those Russians. Last time I checked, Russia is an enemy of us. Vladimir Putin has no love for America. Now let's really make that perfectly clear. Vladimir Putin would like nothing else to see America crushed and destroyed. So why would Donald Trump want to cozy up to these ambassadors the day after he fired the FBI director, folks? If that had been somebody else doing that, like a Democrat, like if Obama had done something like that, or even today, if Biden, people, come on, there'd be a whole different tenor to our conversation right now. You think that the congressional forces that are controlling Congress right now, the James Comers, the Jim Jordans, the Marjorie Taylor Greens, the Gates, all those other ones. I mean, you name them. I mean, Paul Gosar here in Arizona. Come on now. They tried to impeach Joe Biden because they didn't like him. And because Trump had been impeached twice. Can you imagine what would have happened if Biden had done something like what Trump got away with? Or Obama had done it? Well, people think about it for a minute. But anyway, let me move on. So let's see. After that little episode, and then his main guy, Mike Flynn, was his national security guy, so to speak, was going to get his butt nailed by the FBI. Trump's term had just got started, and crooks started falling out the basket already. Then you had Manafort, and you had all these other individuals, his guy Gates, and just a slew of people being indicted, being arrested. I mean, it just started unraveling. And I keep thinking about the time when it just is unimaginable. How could a bunch of people in Trump's cabinet, he did this twice, had them in a conference room, and they all went around the horn extolling the virtues of their dear leader. Like he was really a mafia don or a dictator, somebody. And this actually happened, and we saw it. And America didn't hardly even blink. They walked around or went around the table, almost each one of them, except I think General Mattis said, "Hell no. I'm passing it to my colleague to my right. I'm not. No, I'm not bowing down and kissing the ring." He like next. He wasn't buying it. The rest of them, I think Rex Tillerson was kind of reluctant to even praise the Fuhrer. So that was just another indication of how corrupted and how I guess people's brains have been deprogrammed by Donald Trump. And I still can't see the fascination with him, other than I know that a lot of people have their own ulterior motives, ranging from seeking power and position, figuring out a way to cash in on being associated with him, just based on association. You know, like the Mnuchin, former Treasury Secretary. I remember him and his wife was in the Treasury Department in an area where it's a lot of money, and they would just stand there just clowning like some thugs with the gloves on and handling money, and they basically doing this like, hey, we got all this paper, so we flashing it, and we controlling all this area. We down in this basement where the vaults are. We around all this money. It's our money, so we gonna have a ball. We gonna start clowning. Now, what kind of picture did that send to America? Must not have been much of an impact, because the Trump organization, I don't even call it administration, it's an organization mostly based on crime. It just moves right along. Not much of a whimper. Oh, got a photograph here, photograph there. Oh, look at what Trump's doing now. Look what Oh my goodness, can you believe that? Oh my goodness, people clutching their pearls and you know, uh, biting their fingernails. As long as that Republican power base that was structured there in the Congress and the Senate was involved, he ain't had to worry about nothing. You know, if you rob a bank and the police let you go, and you rob another one, or maybe even the same one, and the police just let it slide, what do you think a bank robber's going to do? He's going to rob another one. Or if somebody murdered somebody and the police just overlooked it and sent that murder along on their way, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to kill again. So if you don't stop it, it's going to continue. You know, that's kind of like common sense, folks. I'm not a genius, but I mean, I can count a little bit. I do credit myself with having a modicum of common sense. So, as the Trump crime spree continued within the White House, I'd always been fascinated about how come this man has always had what I consider and call perpetual rallies. Almost from the time he took office, it was one rally after another rally after another rally after another rally, or he was playing golf. He damn sure wasn't taking care of the country. Wouldn't share his taxes. Always claimed that his taxes were under audit. Our apparatuses of government just looked at Trump and looked away. Let him slide on to the next crime. Grifting, violating all the Hatch Acts, rules, all the laws of our country for the most part. They never applied to Trump, and Trump just basically ignored them. And people wonder why and how he gets away or has gotten away with so much. Because they let him. And in a sense, right now, they're still letting him. And they wonder why we're in a divided state of a union. So again, Trump's crime syndicate and his operations continued. He's always whining about, even today, about Biden being connected to China and always acting like China's bad for everybody else. But baby girl, his daughter, if I remember correctly, and she got about 9 patents from China. What's she gonna do with those? What were those patents for? Just for her to frame them and put them on her wall as mementos? I don't know. I think one of Trump's latest items he's trying to hawk and sell made in China. But he always talking about he gonna levy tariffs on China and other places. Okay. We move on, and he starts getting himself in trouble because from Charlottesville to the upside down Bible thing that happened in D.C. When he got close to the end of his presidency, we all know what happened in Georgia when he started panicking and after the election begging and trying to coerce the Secretary of State in Georgia to find him 11,780 votes. That's all I need, Brad. Just one more than we don't have. Come on, Brad. Give me a break. In other words, give me some votes to do something illegal as to commander and crook he is. So one impeachment wasn't enough. He had to mess with Zelensky over in Ukraine, trying to pressure this guy into getting some dirt on his political opponent, Biden. That wasn't enough. So he's a two-time impeacher. But it took him 2 years. That's where I hold Merrick Garland and the Department of Justice guilty of being derelict in their duties. They waited for Trump to announce his presidency, and then they wondered why they can't pry this boar worm out of the wood. He's already entrenched himself in, and they can't get his ass out there with the jaws of life right now because they waited too long. They slow rolled on taking care of business. I've always been of the opinion that Merrick Garland, he's a nice man, got his principles and everything correct, but to me, he was more suited to be on the Supreme Court because he's a judge by nature. If Kamala Harris hadn't been selected or nominated to be vice president by Biden, I prayed she was going to be the AG. She would have handled her business. She would have took care of this thing. It wouldn't have gone this far. But it's 6 on one and half dozen another. I'm glad she's in the position she's in now. So the only thing about Garland, he's too judicial to me. He's not prosecutorial, put it that way. And so, he waited around and let this thing fester. So again, here we are with this criminal still on the loose. So then Trump gets around to, when he leaves office, stealing all these government classified documents, top secret stuff. I'm trying to understand, like so many other people are, you taking all these classified documents with you to your home in Mar-a-Lago. What were you going to do with all these docs? It's been well documented that the man don't hardly read anything. So what was the purpose of him taking all these documents? And then number two, it took the DOJ and the FBI and all the other law enforcement people 2 years to get the documents back. 2 years. So, folks, what do you think Trump was doing with those documents when he absconded with them? You think he just took those boxes just to be stealing stuff and just placed it there in Mar-a-Lago because he just felt like it? Just like he felt like sending Vladimir Putin those COVID-19 test kits when other Americans were dying left and right. Oh, I don't even know did I mention Trump's handling of COVID? Of course, we done heard it a zillion times. Now it's a zillion to one. That man lied to the American people by omission. And he was petrified. That's my opinion. The man was frightened, scared, and worried because, see, the crisis that he definitely didn't want on his watch happened. And he wasn't prepared for it. Why? Because he was not qualified to be president of any states, anywhere, anytime. Period. The man has no leadership skills. He couldn't lead you out of a room with the lights on, let alone being dark. He knows nothing other than bloviating, lying, cheating, stealing. That's his MO. In America, the segment of America that supports this man, they don't care. They just really don't care. And I heard it on a show today where this guy was interviewing a lot of Trump supporters at some of these rallies, and the majority of them, almost to a person, they basically said, "Hey, you know, it's nothing that Trump can do that would cause them to change their minds." And here's the other damning indictment on their mentality. We got all these Americans, tons of them, at the rallies when they were being interviewed. Almost all of them said if they had to vote between Putin and Kamala Harris, they'd vote for Putin. But those are American patriots at work. It's either because she's black, she's a female, she's a Democrat. Put all three of those together, and they are racist. That's four. You add those four together, and that's the reason for their answers. They'd rather have Vladimir Putin, a dictator over in Russia that has suppressed his people and has stolen from them and put that country in economic ruin, and would like nothing more than to see this country fall. But you got people in this country that are falling for him and his bullshit. But they call themselves American patriots. These people do not understand anything other than what Trump says. Case in point, that guy that called into, I think this guy named Dan Abrams' talk show. Dan Abrams, I think, has a law type of a background and has these court TVs and Law and Order type theme shows and whatnot. Anyway, he's well known. But this guy called Dan Abrams and said his father in North Carolina refuses to take or receive or even apply for any FEMA help because of all the lies that have been spread, misinformation, talking about FEMA is going to just take us home if he receives any kind of relief aid from him. From FEMA. A lot of that stems from the lies that Trump and his supporters have spread. And shows like Fox wouldn't dare condemn him. All the people who come on Fox won't condemn him. And this guy, this old guy, his son-in-law claims that he won't do anything if it's not blessed by Trump. It's a shame, man. It's a shame that Americans are so feeble-minded that they get blinded by just nonsensical shit that's being spewed all the time by the likes of Marjorie Taylor Greene, her crazy ass. She runs around talking this just. She talks so much nonsense. It's hard to even keep up with all the shit that comes out of her mouth. She likes to advocate all the conspiracy thoughts and whispers and rumors and shit. And she's a congresswoman. I don't know why these people allow nutwings like her to become officials in our government. She wants to go around and talk about, the Biden administration is not doing enough for those people in those hurricane-ravaged states and everything, knowing that they're lying. And we know the biggest lie to me to date, among so many of them, is that when Trump and Vance singled out those Haitian people in Springfield, Ohio. That alone should have had 90% of Trump's supporters flying away from him. They even admitted, well, Trump wouldn't admit it, of course, but Vance admitted it, and everybody knew and still knows that it was bullshit, but they did it just trying to get some damn votes. And they didn't give a damn about those people. Don't give a damn about them. Will never give a damn about those people, because those people were black they were talking about. And they used it for political gain. And it's all a game to them. They don't give a damn about who they hurt and the collateral damage that occurs in a city where it just disrupts everything for the most part. We're in a divided country, and the chief divider, Trump, and his idiotic running mate, they don't care. So let's go ahead and just let's turn the screws a little bit more and turn up the racial tension and the racial animosity and vitriol a little bit more. Because, it's not up there high enough yet. Let's go ahead and just twist it just a little bit more, okay? Just to make more people feel uncomfortable. And it's all on that immigrant slant. The Mein Kampf rhetoric and that playbook from Hitler that Trump's using. And they said 85 years ago, the Nazis held a little rally in Madison Square Garden. That was 85 years ago. That's when, the Klan and Nazis, they just ran rampant. They could do anything they want to. Hell, they can still really do it today. Ask Ron DeSantis of Florida. He don't care about Nazis marching on the bridge in Florida during his watch, because, hey, that serves his purpose of just making sure that all the Trump supporters still supports him. But we've seen throughout all this chaos and all this mayhem that Trump has perpetuated, how people like DeSantis, the Nikki Haley's of the world, Steve Bannon, he's still in prison. Navarro just got out of it. Peter Navarro, he just got out of prison. And how almost to a person, let me not forget about Tina Peters, the freshly minted prison inmate right now out of Colorado for her role in election interference. And more to come. Believe that. More to come. And the January 6ers ain't even got there yet, right? But those people who want to cling to the cloth of Trump find themselves in dire straits, in trouble, and they just can't stay away from this malignant disease called Trump. It's a world within itself. And you have people complaining about the price of this, the price of that, but they don't seem too concerned about the price of buying them some Trump sneakers, or his probably, if you can afford it, $100,000 gold watch with his name inscribed on it, or his Trumpy bear back in the day, and his Bible that he's hawking, and the coins and NFT, everything you could think of. Trump's trying to sell it. He's supposed to be a billionaire. Now I understand. Don't get me wrong. I understand it. I'd rather spend your $1,000 than mine. And he does that expertly because he knows he has a bunch of fools that don't take much work. All they got to do is just throw something out there on social media or announce he's selling something, and here they come buying. But they're crying about gas and food and everything. Yeah, okay, all you people who are complaining about the price of everything, I bet you ain't complaining about the price of Trump's memorabilia or the shit he's selling. You ain't complaining about that, are you? Anyway, yeah, we move on to January the 6th, and you know, he had to incite those people to get them to go fight for him, where he said he gonna be there with them. Anybody with a modicum of any kind of sense had two brain cells left in the brain would have known Trump wasn't gonna be nowhere in the vicinity. He's a coward. He'll talk about fighting, but what he means is for you to go fight, and for him to check it out, like he did at the White House for about 2 hours. And backing up my conversation back to COVID for a second, the blood of hundreds of thousands of people, to me, are on Trump's hands because of his inability and his lack of not only discipline, but his lack of competency in handling the COVID crisis. He lied to the American people for weeks and weeks and weeks. And he knew what was going on. But Bob Woodward has to tell us about it. And right now, you got people wondering who's more qualified. Because Kamala Harris is a female, or because she's a black woman. And you stack her credentials up to this clown. That's not even a contest. But the people who know that Trump is an embarrassment, and they are embarrassments themselves for supporting him, but they screwed up in 2016. They don't want to make amends for it now because it's too embarrassing for them to know that they fucked up. So they'll still support this dude to the end, no matter what he does to the country. He gonna lie to everybody right now about what he gonna do if he gets reelected again. If I get another bite of the apple, I'll do better this time. I may have kind of slow rolled and screwed up a few things last time, but I was just rookie mistakes. I was just now learning how to do the job. Y'all just give me one more chance. I'll do it this time. I told you Mexico was going to pay for the wall, and damn it, they're going to pay this time. Give me another chance. I'm going to go over across the Mexican border myself, meet with the Mexican president, and I'm going to demand that check. I'm going to get it. And I'm going to do all that infrastructure stuff I told you. I ran out of time. They didn't give me enough time. They should have, if they gave me 4 more years, we wouldn't be here right now, this situation with the economy booming and unemployment down. And, I could have done the same thing, but y'all kicked me out too soon. That's what happened. But I promise y'all, again, I promise you this time that what I told y'all I was going to do the first time, that I didn't do the last time, I'll get it right this time. Believe me. He's conned America once, and he feel like he's going to con America again. Because, America has a block of perpetual fools that he can count on. All you got to do is look at all the red hats at his rallies. Look at all the t-shirts that's got his face all around him and all over. He know he got them. He know they ain't going nowhere. Because it's Heil Trump until the day they die. But anyway, after J6, and he got this band of marauders, mostly white, who showed their patriotism by just trying to destroy the Capitol and hang the VP. And Trump response when they told him the VP was in danger. So what? fuck him. He didn't do what I told him to do, so he gonna get what he deserves. The only time Mike Pence did something without standing there looking like he was frozen in time, he did the right thing. He didn't so much do the right thing. It was the only thing he could have done, but he did it. To his credit, he could have been a snake. He could have went on and made a suicidal move and followed Trump's directives and tried to screw up something. He'd be sitting up there with Tina Peters right now, but he didn't. But that was about it. See, Trump, he's in desperation mode right now, and he don't give a damn about America. He gives a damn about Trump. And a lot of people already know that, even his supporters know it, but they could care less, because it's all about making sure that they achieve their objective by winning. America loses, but they win by getting him reelected. That's what it boils down to right now. So we got a guy who's shown he's a traitor, shown he is willing to sell our secrets to other foreign countries. And no, I ain't got no proof of that, but I can just about guarantee it. He's been tight with Putin ever since the COVID thing or before. They said he talked to Putin about 7 times after he left office. What do you think they were talking about? How the weather is in Russia? What's Putin gonna do this week? Is he going on vacation? How's the kids? How's the family? Right. Donald Trump, every day, even to this present, shows what kind of person he is and how incompetent he is. And people just kind of mad because Kamala Harris showed him up, especially that debate. They looked around and said, damn, he looks shaky. What are we going to do? Hey, we ain't got no choice. We got to stick with him. He all we got. Yeah. Anyway, folks, let me look at a little bit of something that kind of stood out to me a few days ago, but it ain't really nothing but more of the same from Trump. Did you folks know that when they talk about how great the economy was and Trump did this for people, and then you got some of these people, a lot of black people, who Trump told them that he felt like they ain't nothing but criminals, because when he got his mugshot down in Georgia, he identified with blacks. And what did black people do? The ones that support him, they still support him, of course. Typical individuals who happen to be black, who don't understand and don't care about what this man has done, and what he says is just full of shit. But you can't change some of their minds either. Always gonna be a few in every ethnic group. Gonna be a few. Latinos ain't no different. Mexicans, Asian Americans, you name it, they there. Anyway, when Trump left office, he left office with a net loss of about 3 million jobs, including the loss of about 150,000 manufacturing jobs. But, being the consummate liar that he is, he boasted that only he could bring back manufacturing to the U.S. Trump didn't do shit when it comes to manufacturing jobs. And damn near everything that he promised he was going to do, from Detroit to Dallas, he didn't get shit done. Not for manufacturing, and not with infrastructure. He knows it. Y'all know it. We know it. Okay? Now, what he did have was the worst record on manufacturing. He left office with a 6.5% unemployment rate and a 3.5% contraction rate dealing with the U.S. economy. But he won't tell you none of that, of course. And so the people who listen to Fox and RBS News and all those other right-wing channels and podcasts, those people, they're always trying to cover Trump's hiney. Because they don't want to face the fact that he was the worst president in U.S. history. He's the only president in U.S. history that ended up with negative job losses after his term was over. He stands alone, just like the 2 impeachments and the 34 felony counts. Only him. Only him. Now, contrast that with the Biden-Harris administration. They added 16 million jobs to the workforce and counting. And right now, we have the lowest unemployment rate in 50 years at 4.1%. A record high stock market, including the Standard & Poor's Index, that recorded 45 record highs this year alone. And as a matter of fact, I think the other day, maybe Friday, the stock market hit another record high. So what's wrong with the Biden-Harris administration, folks? What's wrong with it? We got 3 more months to go. You feel me? See, America runs and works better and more efficiently under Democratic control. And the 2 Democratic presidents that just demonstrated that vividly was President Clinton and President Obama. Trump ranks at the bottom where he belongs. He's just a bottom feeder, just like a catfish eating doo-doo off the damn bottom of the river. That's him. But I wonder why. Scary Carrie Lake, she made another appearance when her and Ruben Gallego here in Arizona had their debate about a couple nights ago. And of course, Scary Carrie, she still believes she is governor of Arizona, even though she's going to resign from governor, I guess, so she can become a senator. But she's running for Senate now, so which one is it going to be? You can't do both. But she's a lunatic and just a Trump fanatic. But she's so sorry. Gallego pointed out the fact that she's such a drag on the Trump ticket that they didn't even include her face on a billboard that was announcing different people that's aligned with Trump. A couple of them don't even live in Arizona. I think one of them was Elon Musk. Everybody was on the billboard but her. I wonder why. You know? So she's so steeped in Trump and his mania and his racism that she feels that any immigrant that commits a crime is 10 times worse than someone who looks like her. You know, translation, white. And she feels along with Trump and his supporters that illegals to the tune of 20 plus millions that are stomping across our border in an invasion that no one's covering, but it's happening daily. I'm trying to understand that. They keep talking. When I say they, Trump, her, Republicans in general, that's their talking point. They keep coming with these 30 million illegals. So some days it's 20 million. Sometimes it's 33,000. So all these numbers, and ain't nobody I've seen verified none of the numbers. Where are they getting all these numbers from? Who's been counting them? Has Trump counted the numbers? Has Carrie Lake counted them? Has Marjorie Taylor Greene counted them? Nope. Where are they getting all these numbers from? And if we in such an invasion crisis, how come Fox isn't covering these swarms of people that's coming in to take our homes and take our jobs and murder us and rapists and all this stuff that Trump loves to spread with his bullhorn? He's doing it just because he knows that that's how Hitler got over on the Germans. and you see the stain that it left on Germany ever since 1933. When you think of Germany, Nazism is somewhere around the corner of your mind, because that's one of the things that Germany's always going to be remembered for, is Nazis and the Holocaust. And it's something that is just a stain that's just, when you got some stains in your clothes you just can't get rid of, it's nothing you can do. Either it's there, you get rid of the clothes. Germany's doing a damn good job of trying to live down that stain, but it was so horrific, very hard to get away from something like that. Trump's trying to emulate the same playbook by stoking fear. And he's got a lot of willing accomplices too. Some I just mentioned. Okay. Well, there's plenty more. And see, they keep on harping about the immigrants are bringing in fentanyl and other drugs to our country, according to Kerry and Trump. But in actuality, the statistics say that 90% of the drugs that are brought across the borders is done by Americans. Go figure. But we got to blame them. So us Americans can't be blamed. That's how it's always been. There ain't nothing new. Same old game, same old playbook, just a different day when they're doing it, you know. I say, old dumb Donald, you know, he's done it again. He took his big gator mouth to Detroit, did his usual tear down rant about how bad a U.S. city is, and unless he's in charge again, nothing's going to change. So he decided to rip on Detroit, but this blithering, incompetent buffoon, he forgot, or he didn't care, that he was in fact standing in front of people in Detroit while he was tearing them down. Now, if Joe Biden had done that, that would be the talk until the election about how senile Joe Biden is, how out of touch he is. He's too old. He's he's losing his faculties. He ain't with it no more. They'd be talking about Joe Biden ad nauseum. But Donald Trump gets a passing mention. That's that two-tiered system that we work with and operate when it comes to Donald. Well, all I can say now, Detroit, now you know how he feels about y'all. See, Trump, he's just like the guy who's invited to a dinner and he scarfed down all the grub, farts, then shows no class or discretion, and then he tells you the food sucks, while at the same time he's picking his teeth with a toothpick. And, of course, like he does at every city he goes to and has one of his patented rallies, when he leaves without picking up the tab. And that's all those cities are crying the blues, talking about how much money he owes them from years ago. Got news flash for you folks. You ain't gonna get it. Y'all just go ahead and just pencil that in as a write-off, because he ain't paying you. What Trump did, in typical Trump fashion, he passed it off onto the Secret Service for them to foot the bill. That's our commander-in-chief right there. That's the person that we need back in the White House to run the country again, back into the ground. So for all you Trump lovers out there, you better be damn careful what you wish for, because you might get it again. All right? I'm Ron Tucker. That's all I got to say about this situation right now, until maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day, who knows. But I'm going to keep on bringing it. I want to thank all of you who took the time to take a look at my video. I know I went around different directions with you tonight, but so much stuff to cover about this criminal, this coyote, this hyena called Donald Trump. He is never, ever going to be fit to run this country again. Even if he did get reelected, it'll be America's fault once again. You did it once in 2016. You got smart in 2020. Don't make the same mistake you did 8 years ago. I'm just telling you, it ain't gonna be pretty. So, all of you guys and gals, take care. Have a good day, and I'll see you soon.